Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the weekend trust. What the major story is saying here is electoral bill. What's at stake for 2027? I mean, we all know the 2027 is already approaching, elections and what have you. So we need the electoral bill to be passed before that time. But you can find more details on page 4 of the weekend trust. And then Turaki led PDP to appeal judgment as court nullifies convention. You can find more details on page 28 of the Weekend Trust. And Sanusi to remain Kano Emir. This is coming from Governor Yusuf. I mean, we've seen the tussle between, these two emirs since 2023 when he became the governor, and then Abba Kabir said Sanusi should resume his, seat, the throne. But then you can find more details on page 29 to see what's going to happen, how they're going to resolve this issue, because he said they're going to calmly resolve this situation. So find that details on page 29. The rise of female referees in Nigerian football. I mean, we need to see more of, females actually.
You don't really talk about female referees anymore.
We hardly even have them, except when the female football team is playing that you tend to see. But we need to see them also, doing the same thing when it comes to the male football team when they are playing. We should have the mix of, the female referees also. But then you can find more details on page 37. Kano, the violence within. You can find more details on page 10. I mean, this is talking about almost everything that is happening in Kano, the politics, the killings, domestic killings. I saw the report on, the continuous domestic killings in Kano State. And then also, the Emir tussle and other things that have been
becoming too much.
Yes.
Just last week, we had the issue of Malama Fatima and her husband. We also had issues of the lady that was killed by the same person with her co-wife.
Her sister.
And aside that, there's this reports that do not really, become viral.
The Northwest is actually facing that.
They go inside a family, kill the whole family in their home, and kill them and discard them just like that.
It's actually a pity, because the report is actually still making reference to Fatima and her children. And it's a sad thing to see that this is still happening. And when you ask questions about what is happening when it comes to this domestic abuse, the violence and everything, you can't even place the reason why to some of
it really happening.
Yes, even though we are told that the killing of Fatima and her children is because of inheritance. But then that shouldn't be
did not really have
any motive. He doesn't have a strong reason to do that, regardless. I mean, at the end of the day, the men always take the higher share when it comes to, the Islamic way of sharing inheritance. So I see no reason. Whatever a woman has is double for the man. So, I mean, already the people have something to live on. But then you can find more details on page 10 of the Weekend Trust. Cool. Families of accused officers seek leniency. You can find more details on page 17. Abuja, a nation's capital, defaced by refuse. I mean, if you see some of the trashes in some of the roads in Abuja, like there's one around this Utako, I don't know if it's been cleared. There's one around the Utako market area also. I don't know if it's cleared. There is a huge refuse when you go to Garki, around the Garki market. I remember like 10 years ago, I made a video saying that this is what the situation is in that access. And when I went just 2 days ago, the huge sum of refuse is still there.
Fatima, yesterday we had in our discussion and in phone in Daybreak, we really had, we talked about the FCT workers strike, and when we had our guest, the secretary, the acting secretary of NLC, he discussed about this. He said Abuja is very dirty because of the lack of payment of salaries. They haven't paid
workers.
Yes, the workers that take the environmental people that takes care of this, the debt in Abuja. They haven't paid them for say 7-8 months. And so they are now on strike, so you can imagine.
And I saw, a post saying that Wiki said that the budget cannot go on paying salaries. He came out to say that almost out of 10% of whatever the workers need has been settled. But then this particular refuse that we're talking is huge, that even the road cleaners cannot actually clean them. They can't even clean it because it's piled up. and it's a cause to worry that Abuja is the federal capital,
the whole
is being this
city.
dirty. Let it not be some parts of Lagos where people tend to say, oh, this part of Lagos is smelling or is oozing and all that. There shouldn't be that situation here. I mean, even in Lagos, I'm sure by now the government is doing something to make sure that that place is clean. Well, you can find more details on page 34 of the Weekend Trust, and that's the much that we have for the Weekend Trust.
Now to the Guardian newspaper. Boldly written is suspense in PDP as court nullifies the Badon Convention. Cheraki-led NWC, Wiki-backed caretaker committee claim victory. This is right in page 2. Judgment. It's too tiny, but I'll try to read it.
Just
Judgment opens rare
see.
opportunity to rebuild PDP, says Muhammad. Then it's merely academic rebirth movement on court, says Cheraki. This is right. We're still talking about PDP's, court judgment, and it's all in page 2 of The Guardian. New Horizons makes history, integrates Chinese language into ICT curriculum. This is right in page 3. Oshu local government account, confusion as high magistrate courts issue conflicting orders. This is right in page 36. Right at the top is UNILAG, Dundee's historic union, I beg your pardon, redefining global legal education for Nigerian students. This is right in News Future page 4. How bad roads, insecurity drive high cost of commodities. This is right in special feature pages 8 and 9. Right under is Onitsha market closure, mayhem looms as IPOP declares total lockdown in Southeast. This is becoming too serious. Soludo have really wanted to bring down to nullify the stay-at-home Monday, and this is what is really happening now in the Southeast. To know more about it, you read on page 2 of The Guardian. NNPC unveils Gas Master Plan 2.0. Milestone represent Nigeria's development aspirations, says ECHO. This is right in page 3. Tinubu government won't abandon Nigerians, Shatima reassures. Commissions to the resettlement scheme. This is right in page 3. And that is the much that there is in the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, let's quickly take a look at Saturday Punch. And the major story there says, Crusade robe rattles can PFN. Now, the writer says, cleric decries sabotage. Akwa Ibom knocks pastor for hate speech. And the popular preacher Omo Lehin to assemble lawyers for PFN dissolution. You can find more details on page 4 and 9. And then counterfeits empire, Lagos electronics markets where fake products sustain luxury. I mean, whether we like it or not, Nigerians will always be smart when it comes to creating, and innovation. Nigerians are very good when it comes to that. I mean, if given the chance, I'm sure we can compete with countries like China, where we tend to see a lot of people.
It's just lack of opportunity that's really setting them back. But Nigerians are really very intelligent people.
Indeed. I mean, haven't you seen Nigeria make a fuelless car that you can, it's just, it can drive with, is it water or electric? It charges?
So to say, there are positive things and negatives. Like, let's see it at as the positive side. They said Nigeria, one of the top people that are indulged with, cybercrime and what have you, Yahoo and what have you. But so, as a dull person cannot be doing that kind of thing, the Yahoo, the scam and everything. So if they will really, bring that, like, convert that idea, that intelligence to something very positive, it's going to be a turning point.
I mean, already, because we are seeing a lot of, young people coming up with things, creating things, some will even be challenging themselves to create just locally small-made blenders,
Nigerians survive no matter what.
A lot of, engineering kind of activity that we tend to see. If given the chance, like I said, we are going to do a lot better.
Exactly.
We're going to start having our own phones, probably our own laptops. You know, we already have cars made in Nigeria already, so that's what we're talking about. I mean, but you know, the counterfeiting when it comes to electronics now is another thing.
We have lots of setbacks in Nigeria right now that's not really making people utilize the what they really have or what they have to offer.
Well, you can find more details on the Saturday Punch on page 20 and 21. Now, 15 Ondo Varsity student expelled over sex tape. You can find more details on page 19. Boko Haram kills 5 soldiers, 15 Borno villagers. You can find more details on page 9 of the Saturday Punch. How Nollywood actor was arrested over failed coup plot. I mean, we're going to talk about that much later, but you can find more details on page 16. And then Osun local government accounts. Court issues arrest warrant against UBA, 3 top officials. You can find more details on page 12 to 13. And then annulled PDP convention, Turaki forms Wike's camp celebrates. This crisis keeps happening, the back and forth. Well, you can find more details on page 5. Politics is a dirty game at the end of the day, you know, so we all know what is happening. Nigerians self-deport amid Trump's deadly ICE raid. You can find more details on page 4 and 9 of the Saturday Punch, and that's the much that there is on that.
And on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, $11 billion lost to skills shortage as tech sector outgrows workforce. ICT output surges while skilled manpower falls dangerously behind. Competition for talent drive cost higher while companies bleed. Skills gap threatens long-term digital competitiveness. This right in page 21. Right at the top is you can't speak truth to power under tinubu government, says Makinde. This right in page 10. Reps disown minority caucus interim report on tax laws. This right in page 8 of the Vanguard. Again, bandits attacked 6 Kajuru residents.
Kajuru, right? In Kaduna, I mean...
Aren't there supposed to be military in Kajuru right now that guarding the residents? What's really happening, Fatima?
The insecurity, we keep talking about it, Mariam, and we're yet to see something being done, even though we've seen the security agencies trying their best, but you know, it's like you saw this loophole, another opens.
The security operatives should be in Kajuru right now.
I mean,
what is really, are they there or they're not? Because if they were there, I think the 6 more people wouldn't have been abducted.
At this point, you know, we can't say if they're there or not, because sometimes, you know, in communities where soldiers are supposed to be there or police, you know, sometimes they flee, especially maybe with the number of the bandits or terrorists attacking that access. If they don't have what it takes,
to come back, you know.
Definitely. It's like so it's not something that you do just one day, 2 days, and just go, you know. So
it's
they should be there.
That this happened and another one is already happening in the same village, a very small village.
At that much,
town.
Yeah, not a whole town, indeed.
Oh, well, this is right.
Well, we're waiting to see what happens. You know, we'll see what Governor Basani will do. And sometimes people keep saying that, you know, behind the scene we don't know what is playing. You know, you keep saying some parts is actually safe, meanwhile it's not actually safe. It's because we don't tend to see it. But then we hope that something will be done.
Moving on, still on the Vanguard, why we are keen to invest $20 billion in Nigeria, says Shell CEO. This is right in page 12. 2026 UTME JAMB cancels concession for Alpinos. This is right in page 9. Why are they cancelling it? Well, to know more about it, you read page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Kajuru. Olawepo Hashim accuses 5th columnist in government, some security operatives, of complicity in insecurity. This is right in page 13. Police intercept truckloads of 40 bags of explosives in Oyo. This is right in page 6. God will rewrite our story, says the Iwere story, I beg your pardon. God will rewrite our story, something like that. Olu of Wari, this is right in page 12. Lagos to recover unpaid taxes through banks, employers, others, says the LIRS. This is right in page 10. 10 of the Vanguard, and that is the much that there is in the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, let's quickly take a look at Saturday Tribune, where the major story there says security forces probe use of drones by terrorists. Yeah, this is exactly what we are talking about. I mean, it should be. You know, you can find more details on page 3, because we keep seeing the kind of, you know, the success of how they carry out their heinous crimes. And you'll be wondering, they are using drones just like, you know, the security agencies are also using drones to dictate where they are and what have you. I mean, you can find more details on page 3. PDP crisis, court voids Ibadan convention, and then the rider Turaki-led NWC says judgment academic files appeal. You can find more details on page 2. Oyo at 50, our state is progressing by God's mercy. Now this is coming from Makinde. You can find more details on page 5. Tinubu's re-election, Rivers setting pace. This is coming from Wike. And then no northern candidate can defeat Tinubu. Now this is coming from Ganduje. You can find more details on page 3 and page 4 of the Saturday Tribune. My wife stole my money after standing as my guarantor, ruined me, Ibadan man tells court. Now this is coming from the husband. Now, Mariam, your wife stands in for you as a guarantor, you know, just like your one uncle story, and then she ruins you at the end, and then they find themselves in court. You know,
the level of lack of trust among couples these days is really alarming.
It is. It's not just, you know, couples, even amongst friends, amongst families, blood brothers, sisters. I mean, it's crazy what is happening, you know. But then you can find more details on page 12 and 20 of the Saturday Tribune. Mr. Chairman, I quit. Now, Kano politicians who resigned from NNPP with a one linear explains action. You can find more details on page 10. I mean, Mariam, what do you think of this? Mr. Chairman, I quit. That's just the word.
The shortest resignation I've ever heard of. You know.
Well, you know, people can't seem to, you know, can't stop amazing me. Like, people keep coming up with things that will trend.
That's
or
quite
people
funny.
will keep. Yes,
short and funny. Please, I quit. No long talks, please. I don't want stress. I quit. Just take.
You can find more details on page 10, and then we've read on the Osun local government account where the, you know, court has issued warrants to arrest UBA and 3 top officials, and then appeal court upholds death sentence on 5 Offa bank robbery suspects. I mean, we've seen this, you know, sometime last year where we've had this particular issue going back and forth. Well, you can find more details on page 4 of the Saturday Tribune, and that's the much that we have for you today on our, you know, the review of our national dailies. I'm sure that you have a lot to keep you, you know, informed, and a lot to keep you busy from today to tomorrow before more things start turning out on Monday also. Well, let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we tend to open the phone lines to hear from you about how you are maintaining friendship. Is it harder or is it easier for you?